All right. Good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Happy Sunday. Hope you guys have had a good weekend so far. Thanks for joining me today. So today's discussion is going to be about a a member requested topic, which is the kind of the legal history of coins. We're going to be talking about the legislative component. We're going to be looking at kind of the history of the coins that have come out. We're going to talk about seven of the primary coin acts that have had the greatest impact on our nation's coinage, as well as consumer and protection for the hobbyist. We're going to talk a little bit about gold and silver stacking and how they've been affected in that. So a lot of information. And as you can see up at the top, we have Paula Bloom is in the house. Hi, Paula.
Hello. Hello.
So I want you to share with everybody, if you don't mind, really quick, what you found yesterday, if they haven't done so, or I probably should just send them to go watch that video.
Yeah, I'm not telling. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. No, I can tell them. So Amanda and I did some coin roll hunting yesterday. Just kind of spur of the moment, and we searched a roll of 72 Lincoln cents, 1972 Lincoln cents, and a roll of 1961 Ds. And really early on in my roll, I found an FS 103 DDO. And I was really excited about that.
That's
So,
unreal. Like,
yeah,
that is
and it
really
was in
cool.
beautiful condition too. And
Yeah,
then
really cool.
I found some RPMs in the 61D, so that was fun. But yeah, make them watch, Jacqueline says.
Well, as soon as you said 72, I was like, no.
Yeah, it
uh,
was a lot of fun.
yeah, that is cool. Well, congratulations. Or I should say
Thanks.
congratulations to Amanda.
I know, right?
Hey, Scotty
Yes.
Aquati, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Um, see him floating around the various channels. Good to have you come into mine. I appreciate you being here, bud. Herman Ortiz, what's going on, Herman? I hope you're doing well.
Oh,
Um,
Frostbyte. I was going to tell you, yesterday when you were streaming, right at the end when Ken called,
did you get off at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon?
it was 3 hours and 40
I
minutes.
told them as soon as you called, it's like, hey, what's going on? I was like, well, here's a 3 hour phone call. We won't be seeing Paula for a while.
Yeah, we were on the phone for 3 hours and 40 minutes. I love talking to him.
Yeah,
Oh my
there are
God.
people out there. So everybody knows I like to talk, right? But
Mm.
there are some people that I'm like, no, he likes to talk. And Ken is one of those.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've never
yeah,
had the pleasure of sitting down and chatting with him, but
he's so
um,
good.
yeah, I always hear
And,
stories like,
and you get the two of us together, and then we're both, yeah, forget it. Don't make any plans for the rest of the day.
well, cool. What did you guys have any really cool elements of the discussion or?
We talked about, we talked about so much stuff. The real conversation was just about, he's helping me to navigate through this state rep thing, what to
Oh,
do,
yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
and who to contact and stuff like that. And because the goal is to get me onto a Kaneka table at one of the big shows, right? That's the ultimate goal, but I have to get out there and prove myself. So anyway, so that was really the main conversation, but we talked about the cherry pickers guide and strike it rich and different stuff. And so yeah, it was a really good conversation. It always is, but
That's really cool. I read a lot of stuff from Ken, watch a lot of videos, see him in you don't see him on social media much. Um
no, he kind of pops in and out. He'll be real active, like in his Facebook group. He'll be real active for a few months, and then he takes a break. He's on like a summer liaison right now, and he's starting to come back.
I got you.
But yeah, so
Well, very cool. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
again, like I said, as
good
soon as
stuff.
you're like, "Hey, Ken," I was like, "Well, okay, Paula's gone for 3 hours, so we will."
3 hours and 40
Yeah,
minutes.
I knew because it's just historical, right? It just is what it is.
It is.
So yeah, it's kind of funny. I was like, "Oh man, we're not going to be hearing from Paula for a while," but it was cool. Yeah, I was really excited. I wanted to make sure that they knew that you had found the 72 double die. I think that is
Yes, that
amazing.
was that was and for me, it's like really exciting
Oh,
because
oh, oh.
oh, and but like
Uh,
so if 10 of us were looking through a roll of the same date, 9 of you would find something and Paula would be left out.
that's kind
So
of well, I can't really say that. I haven't done a whole lot of searching. I've done a lot of researching
yeah.
lately, trying to really learn and understand things and provide good content, but I haven't really sat down. I've still got a whole freaking bag, $25 bag of wheat cents that I haven't touched. Like I've had it for 9 months. Um, I actually need to just take time and start doing some searches. I've had people send me rolls. I got like 5 rolls sitting on my desk. Um,
Mhm.
one of them is a 72. So, um,
Like, you own it. You're
I
gonna
need
find a whole if you guys go back and I would kind of if that's the thing stuff you'd like, I would encourage you to go watch it just because it was fun to kind of teach as I go. And one thing you will see a whole lot of is in my roles, I couldn't see what Amanda was doing, but in my roles, almost every coin I went through had master die doubling. And the 72 from every single mint are like that. uh, Yeah, it's very, very common on 72s, and you'll get to see what that looks like. So you won't get it mixed up for
well, go grab
regular.
the link of that video and throw that in chat. And people
Okay.
can go ahead and they can click on that and open it up later on, and look at it. That's cool. Or how long did you guys stream for?
Um, a little over an hour, I think.
Cool.
Yeah, you can't show it. You couldn't show it here. It's too long if that's what you were going to say.
Oh, I was thinking about going in and just pulling it up and showing a portion of it, which we can do.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can. Let's go over the
The,
topic, and depending upon how much time this takes,
yeah, do it.
if
Do
it's
it. Do
pretty
it. Do it.
busy, then we'll if there are a lot of questions, we'll stay on
Oops.
topic. But if it's not, then we'll go ahead and dive over because I'd love for people to see that. But I would rather the link get put in and people go see it so that you guys get the watch time hours for it. Um,
Oh.
I don't need watch time hours. I got more hours than I know what to do with. So,
Oh, we're okay.
all
Yeah.
right. Well, let's go ahead and dig into this. So, the person who first reached out to me regarding this particular item was Gatita Oso. And I asked, it's like, hey, what is it um, that we could talk about? What are some things that you want to discuss? And she's like, the legal coins, right? The legality of coins. And I was like, well, I want to be very clear on what that means. And she's like, the process. Like, I want to tell me like how a coin is made, walk through the process, like major milestones. And I'm like, you got it, right? I really take customer requested feedback to heart. Like, I really want to improve. I want you guys to understand what's going on. And so I said, done. So yesterday I did some research, got up early this morning, put some other things together, actually shared something with Paul. I was like, oh, you got to see this. She's like, yeah, I already have it. Um, but it's a really cool piece. Most of these things are already in the description below. You'll see the things that I want to be talking about that are there. I've already put those in there. One, because some of this stuff I'm going to be reading verbatim. Some of this stuff is going to be stuff that I'm going to be showing on the screen. So for copyright purposes, I have to do it anyway, but it's good for you guys to have the resources. So the first thing I'm going to do is remind everybody that when we talk about the US Mint not doing designs like we want them to on circulating coinage, their hands are tied in many cases. And the reason for that is because there are things called coin acts or bills or laws that get put into place, and they are there simply to enact that. So they have the opportunity to do things like metals. They can determine the metals that they do or special runs or things of that nature. So the US Mint does have some leeway. Um, in particular, when we look at like the semiquincitennial, which we're going to be talking about a little bit later on. Paul has done a lot of research on this. We're going to talk about what's going on. I'm going to let her kind of talk about the coins and what's going on. I'll be sharing some legal resources with you. Um, as Paul is talking, I'll be dropping the U.S. Mint historical precedents, talking about what's happened at the U.S. Mint, some of the acts that are there, and then also location actually is at the Senate site where you can actually look at what bills, being proposed, read the actual legal language of it. So we'll be putting that information in to chat as well. It's a really cool if you like this type of thing. If you don't, then the resource is there for you. If anybody is to ask you, you know where to pull it up or you can share it with them. So let's go ahead and start at the very beginning. So the first thing we have to understand is that prior to the mint being established in 1792, the way that they looked at the items were what they called annual reports. And so they weren't necessarily annual. They happened every 2 years, every 4 years, every 8 years, whatever it was. And they basically looked at the circulating coinage of the time. Now, the primary circulating coinage of the time was obviously Britain and Spain. The real was probably the most fluent when you're looking at silver dollars and things like that. Pieces of 8, we've talked about those in the past. Those were primary. And then when you talk about copper coinage and things of that nature, you were looking at the half pence, the pence. You were looking at some French coinage. And then there were a lot of locally minted items, locally minted coins that happened within particular region. But it wasn't until the Coin Act of 1792 where we actually started to say, we're going to have specific designs, specific elements. There's going to be representations of things on coins. But for that to happen, a bill had to be created that turned into a law. So I'm going to do that whole what's your function junction, and we're going to talk about how a bill becomes a law. Very basic, right on the surface, just so people kind of understand the general premise of what's happening. And then we'll kind of go back to the various key elements of historical U.S. coinage, the creation of that. We're going to include a lot of information that talks about silver gold stacking, what happened with the silver standard, what happened with the gold standard, when it changed, why it changed, historical events at the time. So basically, if you don't like history, you may not be that keenly interested in this particular topic. But there's a lot of good information in what I'm about to share with you today. Okay, so please stay tuned if you will. But again, if this isn't your thing, then I completely understand. If you have any questions, I need you to do me a favor. Do the at Frostbyte Coins and Collectibles, tag me so that I see it. I'll try to make sure I note that for my moderators. If you'll do me a favor, if I miss a question, keep aware of it, refer back to me, let me know that I don't miss that. I want to be able to answer some of these questions as they come up. All right, so to get into it, how does a bill become a law? Well, the first thing that happens is the bill begins with an idea, right? We think we want to do this. There's a need, there's a gap, there's a hole, something has to be filled. And so the idea is generated. They look through, they discuss it, and they create kind of what they want to do, what they believe will happen to fill that gap. And then once that idea is created, they put it down on paper and they propose it. Once they do the proposal, they actually go through and they kind of look through and they find who will be what they call a sponsor. So they need somebody who actually will kind of take this, will back it. In many cases, it's a committee. And it might be financial, might be agriculture, might be the Senate Armed Services Committee if you're talking about DOD. There's so many different groups and subcomponents, but you have to find somebody to sponsor it. Once you find a sponsor, they try to get everybody there. They try to see what support they have, what structures that they have in place. And then from that, they go ahead and they introduce the bill. Now, there is a process here. So it has to go through the House of Representatives first, it has to go through the Senate, and then to the president. So what happens at the House is kind of, there's a few things before it gets to the House. But again, we talk about it going to the committee. So once the bill is introduced, they put it out there, and then it becomes something that starts on HR. So if you're looking at anything legal anywhere and you see HR 503, HR 221, HR 5533, if you see those numbers, it means that it's a House of Representatives. Okay, that's the designation for that. Once it goes through, it's on that list, it's in that subset of reviews, it's been introduced, it's at the committee, then it gets reported. Once the bill is reported, it gets sent over and they actually document it with the House of Representatives, and the bill gets ready to be debated. Now, we've all seen the debates on the bill. So you go through, they say, yes, we want this. No, we don't want this. And then once they go through that, this always happens while they're in session, then they get voted on. Now, there's 3 ways to vote. Okay, the House of Representatives is different than the Senate. So the House of Representatives can either do a viva voce, which is the vocal vote, yay or nay, right? Aye or no. The House of Representatives is aye and no. The Senate is yay or nay. So when you're looking at a vote, you may say yay or nay, but that's the legal terminology is aye or no. Okay. The other one is division, where they actually say all the yeses stand up. Okay, now all the no's stand up. Then they actually physically count. The third one is something that's new and recorded, which is they actually use the 4-button panel that's in front of them. They take their government associated ID, they put it in, they hit the button. The next item comes up, they hit the button, they submit, and then they leave. This is both good and bad. Again, people can go in, they can hit it, tap, 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 vote on their things, and then leave. They can be in and out. It makes it really easy for them. But again, they don't necessarily need to sit there. They can just go in, plug in, hit the number, and then leave. Whereas if you're doing a vocal vote or you're doing a division vote, you actually have to be present at the time the vote is called. So just be aware of kind of how that works. Once that is approved, everything is good, and it makes it through the House of Representatives, it goes to a carrier who actually walks it over to the Senate. And then exact same thing happens at the Senate. They go through. Now, the Senate only has voca voce. They don't do electronic voting. It is only a vocal vote. It is yay or nay, stand to be presented, and then they do that. There's something different between the House of Representatives and the Senate. So if you're ever watching something, if you're on C-SPAN or something like that, and you're watching the Senate, you'll see them stand up, see them vocally boast their yays or nays, raise their hand, whatever it is. And that's the way that they count their votes. Once it passes the House of Representatives, once it passes the Senate, then it goes to the president. President can do one of 3 things. He can sign it and pass it. He can refuse it or veto it, or he can do nothing. And doing nothing is what they call a pocket veto. A pocket veto has 2 tenets. If it's in session, they have 10 days. If something doesn't happen within that 10 days, it becomes a bill. And if they're not in session, then nothing ever happens to it. They just walk away from it. Once that happens, assuming that there's no veto or there hasn't been any kind of 2/3 majority overwrite of a presidential veto, then the bill becomes law. They document it, and now it's maintained by the judiciary system, which maintains the legality of it. If they find out that there's something wrong, they talk about the law, they talk about the legality of things, and then they're the ones that actually enforce that. That is the U.S. Supreme Court. So that's basically the structure of what happens in order for a bill to make it through from the generalized idea all the way through. So it's not an easy process. It's quite lengthy in many places. And normally when something like the Coin Act comes across, it's embedded in a mire, a cadre, if you will, of other items. And so sometimes those particular items can be as simple as, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be voting on House Bill 33.2, if you look at Article 5, which is going to be the semiquincitennial, this is a proposal. Do we have any people that want to say anything? No. Okay, we're going to vote. Yays, nays. Okay, the yays have it. Okay, let's go ahead and pass that on. That's going to be added to the bill. It could be that simple. It could be very convoluted. If there's specific information or things that are in there that they don't like, it can go back and forth. And so when it comes to coins, usually there's not nearly as much a debate as if you're talking about things like Department of Energy or things of that nature. But when it comes to actual currency and the money, the chair people of the finance committee, they fight over this, feverishly, right? It's a really big issue for them. But I wanted to kind of go over this for two reasons. Number one, it's good for you to understand the general legal process of how a bill becomes a law. But it's also important for you to understand that when these things come to play, the mint doesn't have the opportunity to say, you know what? We really like the fact that you have George Washington on this, but we're going to change the quarter this year to the seated liberty. It's not that easy. In order to do that, they would have to propose it. Now, they can propose it. They can lobby that. They can talk about that kind of stuff, but it's not something that's going to happen overnight. And we'll talk about that again a little bit later on when Paul is talking about the semiquincitennial. Hey, Invisible, thank you for the $1 super chat, bud. I appreciate you. Much appreciated. All right. So again, when we look at this, we have the general process that happens for the legality of this. But what I really want to do now is I want to talk about the various coin acts that actually have really had the largest impact of our coin. And so again, thank you, Invisible. I appreciate you. One of the most important things when you look at this is to look at the Coin Act of 1792. Now, obviously, the Coin Act is the one that actually started U.S. coinage. It released the authorization for a U.S. mint to establish the regulation of coins. Now, the basic language, and I'm going to read this verbatim as is so that I don't screw this up. It says the importance and the roles of the United States Mint are clearly laid out, and it states the following. The Mint's most important role is to make enough circulating coinage to facilitate economic transactions within our country. The second most important role is to make enough precious metal bullion coins to meet demand. If the United States Mint has any leftover capacity, then it can make numismatic coins. So it's very important for people to understand that. Numismatics is not the primary function of the United States Mint. It is a secondary thing. Now, we get frustrated as collectors, right? Paula and I have talked about, wanting the flowing hair design or doing something to bring back some of those numismatic pieces. But when you're talking about primary, secondary, or tertiary is third, secondary is second. If you're talking about the roles, the third one is numismatics, right? It's only after the other two items are met and fulfilled that the mint is allowed to even consider numismatics. And so they have to fill the obligation of the law first. That is a requirement that was set up in 1792, and that role has not changed. Some of the processes, some of the hiring of the mint, the employees, some of the things that are there actually have changed, right? They've improved over time. But as a general whole, if you're looking at this, the basic premise of this has not changed. Now, in 1792, there were some things that laid out specifically when it comes to denominations. And there are these particular coins. And these were authorized in 1792, but not all of them were minted 1792. Some of them were 93, 94, 95, etc. The other thing is, and Paula, correct me if I say this incorrectly, but just because a year is 1792 doesn't mean that the coins were minted in that year. Is that a true statement?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I was muted. I
I was
forgot
like,
I
I
was
think I
muted.
just lulled her to sleep.
I was muted. Sorry. Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
Because we have that, I believe, what's with the 1794,
Or half dime.
the halftime. Okay. Yeah. So, so again, just because you see it in that year doesn't mean that it was necessarily minted in that year. Why am I bringing this up? Because we asked this in trivia a lot. Hint,
Oh
hint,
my gosh, that's creepy.
hint, hint, week, week. Okay. I'm
You're
hosting Ida's stream tomorrow. Hint, hint,
Oh, you
wink,
are?
wink.
She's not coming back?
I guess
I
not.
need to talk to her.
I was asked to
Okay.
host. So
Okay.
yeah. Angel asked me if I would host Ida's stream tomorrow.
Okay.
So, all right. So the laws that can be minted within specific coins as set out by that law is eagles, right? $10 made of gold, half eagles, $5 made of gold, quarter eagles at the $2.50 denomination made of gold, dollar coins made of silver. This is really important. The graphic that I'm going to show you later will authorize dollar gold coins, but that did not come until much later on. So be aware of that. Half dollars, which would be made of silver, quarter dollars, which would be made of silver, dimes, which would be made of silver, half dimes, which would be made of silver, cents and half cents, which would be made of copper. So when we're talking about the denominations, these are requirements. It was the specific metal content. And in fact, I have one of the documents that I'm going to be showing you actually shows you the metallurgical content. Now it's difficult to understand, it's difficult to read. You have to know a little bit about what was done during that time frame, but it's really important. Again, when we talk about the dollars related to that, it was silver, okay? Gold wasn't there yet. That didn't come until later on. And I'll get to that in just a few minutes. All right. So the coin out of 1792 also further specified that the front of each coin should display the semblance or the resemblance of liberty along with the word liberty. So that meant that all of these early coins, the term liberty had to be on the obverse of the coin. And then on the back of it, each gold and silver coin should display the United States of America. Again, we were a fledgling nation during this time frame, and it was a matter of determining that it was our coinage and not Spain, not France, not Britain. And so we really wanted to make sure we understood what our coinage was. And the mintages were very low back then. Okay. So it would be about 40 years, 38 years or 42 years or something like that before the next major coin act would be done. There would be little ones that would support local little mints in various regions. I did a story talking about the Yoakum dollar that happened during this general time frame, which was this local silver mint that minted their own dollar coins utilizing silver bullion that was collected from various tribes. And again, if you guys hear me talk about various stories, it's always peach something or other. In this case, they were peach brandy. People would bring the silver in. They would cut the silver bars into little things, and then they would mint their own silver coinage. It wasn't until 1834 where they started kind of wanting to shift away from the primary use of silver in the coinage. They wanted to kind of start utilizing more gold. Now, the Coinage Act, this was the big shift. Now, this was the first time they really started to look at the reducing the silver content within coins. Okay, so for those of you who are stackers, a lot of people think 1857 was that, 1864 or 1964, excuse me, 1971. Those are the big years that most stackers know. The reduction of silver in coinage actually started happening in 1834. Now, Paula,
Sure.
here is a really fun fact. Did you know? Hey, Kenai, how you doing? Thanks for being here. Did you know that there is a cent that actually has a silver core?
Did not know that.
I learned that, and I'm going to show that coin later on. It is basically like it's a copper penny, but it has a 10% silver core.
Is it a
And so it
pattern?
actually takes on a silver piece. Later on, it would be copper and then copper nickel, right? You'd have the nickel that would be added to it instead of
No,
it being.
not in the cent. There's no nickel in the cent.
Mm,
No.
I thought it was a 90 10%. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Copper is tin and zinc.
But that was later on.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
So
no nickel. Oh, you're talking about the Indian head cent
there were a couple of them predate that. Yeah.
with the nickel, with the copper
Yeah.
nickel with the nickel.
Um, so anyway, kind of just really cool stuff, right? So I didn't know I had no idea that they had used.
Was this like a coin that was put out in circulation, or was this like a pattern or a trial?
I got to look that up and find out. I can show you the coin, and well, I'm assuming it was probably a trial coin,
Okay.
pattern coin.
Yeah,
Um,
because they did lots of trials on different
yeah.
metals. They even had plastic one. They even tried a plastic one. So
Was it made by Hasbro?
no, it was real. They
Yeah,
tried it.
fun stuff. So
Hmm.
1834 for all you stackers. Okay, this is if you can bookmark something. The 30-minute mark. Remember the 30-minute mark. This is where we're going to start talking about silver and gold in relation to standards that we were on and how they started to change. So one thing about this particular element was that during this time frame, the lawmakers really wanted to shift away from utilizing silver as the primary source. Now, one reason for this was the discovery of gold near a mint that was the first D. All right, so I'm not going to say anything, but anybody in chat, Paula, um, what was the first D mint? Okay, a lot of people don't realize that there were actually two different D mints. Um, And it was because of the identification and the discovery of gold in this particular region that this particular mint came into being. Anybody want to take a gander? Uh, Good try with the spelling invisible, but yes, that I know exactly where you're going with that. And it is Delanega. So the Coin Act of 1834 actually helped adjust the silver to gold ratio because of what was being found near the Delanega region. And so because of that, Delanega was created and they started minting more gold coins. Now, during this time frame, the lawmakers adjusted the silver to gold ratio. Now, back then it was set, right, at a certain point. It didn't kind of wave all over it is. It's not the 83 to 1 that it is right now. But back then, 1834, now hold on to your socks, it was 15 to 1. Okay. Which meant that you could spend 15 silver coins to get one gold coin. Now we're talking ounces, so we're talking an ounce to ounce ratio. So when they changed it in 1834, it went from a 15 to 1 ratio to a 16 in 1 ratio, indicating that gold now was a little bit, or silver was a little bit less value in relation to a single ounce of coin. So you had to spend an additional ounce in order to keep that same ounce of gold. That was one of the primary features of this. So when you talk about the gold ratio, for those of you who don't know, again, the gold ratio, when you hear the GSR, okay, Tiger just did a thing on the GSR. When you're talking about the GSR, the gold to silver ratio, it's basically how many silver coins does it take to equal the 1 ounce of gold. Okay, so that's for those people that don't know what that is. When you hear that, that's exactly what's going on. But yeah, remember trivia again, hint, hint, wink, wink. The first D mint was not Denver, it was Delanega. Okay. And so that's basically what happened in 1834, the creation of the Delanega Mint. They started minting some of those things. And again, you started to see an uptick in gold production in coins. Now, it would be 15 years later in 1849, where in response to another significant event, okay, you're looking at the California Gold Rush. Okay, now the California Gold Rush, again, you're talking about two major gold rushes within a 20-year span. You have the Delenega, that area there, and then you have California, San Francisco, and then a few years later, you would have the Alaskan. But in specific, in 1849, again, San Francisco 49ers, you'll see a video coming out from me about this as well. That authorized the minting of gold coins in the San Francisco Mint, starting with the small $1 coin. Again, when we're talking about dollars, well, I'm going to show you a graphic here in just a second. When we're talking about, I don't know what that sound was. Was that you? Oh, no, it was Night Pirate. Okay. I was like, I heard that sound, but I didn't know what it was. When you look at the 1849, that's when the first gold coin came out. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this. This is a little chart. Let me get it set so that I can get this into place. Give me just a moment. I've got to make it a little bit smaller so that it fits. So what this is, and this is one of the charts that I include in the description, okay? So you can actually look at this. And what this is this is the history of the denominations within the United States currency. Now, what you're seeing here, oh, actually, you know what? Hold on, Paula. Let me do this. Let me present that here. And then let me do this, and then it's going to give me that kind of effect. But give me just a moment, and I will put that up there. There we go. Now you should be able to see that, right? Paula, do you see that?
No, I just see your entire screen like in triplicate.
Oh, okay. So it's not actually,
Walking down a never-ending hallway.
Yeah, I hate it when it does this. For some reason, it doesn't allow me to share that one thing. Oh, you know what I'll do? I'll do this. Hold on. Let me fire this over here. Sorry, folks. Give me just a second. I'm trying to make sure that she can see this as well. She's looking at it on a different platform as you all. So let me do that. There we go. All right. Now you can see that. All right. So what this is this is a representation of the U.S. coins, the circulating coins that happened within the U.S. all the way from the beginning. Now, one thing when you look at this particular item that you need to be aware of is, again, this chart is located on that in the description. Okay, it's actually in the description. You can see that there. But what I want you to understand is if you look at dollar goes all the way from 1793 all the way to present. So that includes the gold dollar, that includes Mercury, or that includes, excuse me, the piece, that includes the Morgan, that includes the gold dollars, that includes the presidential dollars, the Sacagawea dollars. So when you're looking at the major categories, understand that the dollars have been around since the beginning, 1794. But again, there's different ones that happen. 1849 was when the small $1 coin was issued. And I'm going to pull up the next element here, which is the, oh, you know what? I don't have it up. What did I do with it? This one. This is a really, 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 really cool reference. Okay. So when you talk about this particular chart, this is something I think I've included the link. If I didn't include the link, I will make sure it's there. I think I've already done this, but I want to make sure that it's the right file. If you go to the website, you don't download the PDF. It's not quite as clear. But this one is really cool because you can actually dig in and you can actually look at the various coins and you can see very in detail. This is the metallurgic makeup of the particular coin. So you'll look at the key, you'll see what the various colors mean, and it'll show you the metallurgical makeup of those particular coins. You can actually go through and look at pre 1792. So you'll see coins that are not US coins that are local minted. So they were done through the Continental Congress, but they weren't actually listed. And then you get down in here, the ones that are actually happening with the advent of the 1792 Coin Act. So you'll see the coins that are there, and you can actually see the years, what was minted, the obverse, the reverse. Again, just a really, really cool element for you guys, and I want to make sure that I provide that to you. Again, you break it down, it talks about each one of them. And when you come down here and you look at the $1 coin, you will see that the $1 coin, it shows you all of them. And then here you'll see 1849. And this is where it shows you that you have the first advent of the gold dollar. Okay, so when you're looking at the other graphic, again, graphics don't always help you. You really have to understand the content, what's in here. This one is a really, really good resource, and I'll make sure that you guys have access to this. All right, so again, when we're doing this, the other thing that happened during this time frame is if we scroll down in this, you'll see that during this time frame, we have the gold eagle, the Godden's double eagle, and then you'll see that coin coming in a year later in 1850. Again, that came from the Coin Act of 1849. Now, this again, primarily because of the process of taking gold from the California gold rush and minting these coins. Now, there were some issues that started to happen with the California gold rush. And again, I've done a video on this particular piece, so please go check that out. But on this particular one, there were some issues that happened because there was so much gold coming out of California that it was really, really jacking with silver. And so they initiated the Coinage Act of 1857. Now, the Coinage Act of 1857, there were a couple things that happened that were really, really important. And one of those things that happened was this is when they stopped saying, hey, we can use Spanish coins, we can use French coins. That stopped. So the use of foreign coins as legal tender in the United States ended. So there were no longer allowance to bring coins in and utilize those. One thing that also happened during this time frame was the reduction or the elimination of the half cent. Now, as much as we love the half cent as numismatists, collectors, right? We love getting the half cents, the flowing hairs and stuff like that. We love the designs. We love the history. Back then, people hated the damn thing. They didn't like it. It was very unpopular. And so they wanted to get rid of that and go with the full cent. So the Coin Act of 1857 is when they stopped the half cent and they moved to the cent. We'd never see another half cent after 1857. They also wanted to change during this time frame the copper content of the penny to 88% copper. And this is when they went to the 88% copper filled with the gap of nickel. This is where they started to make them. It's not.
When did you say this?
Say again.
What year did you say this?
1857. The Coin Act of 1857. And this is where they would do that 12% gap. Again, but before then, they were copper coins, and then they went to, and what is it called? Oh my God, I just
Copper
lost.
nickel?
Well, yeah, but they're the copper cents, and then they're the
Talking about the fatties?
yeah, but what's the name of those? It's the metal content. It's why did I go blank?
I don't know. Are you talking about the
Cooper
Indian
nickel. Cooper nickel is the nickels. It's not this. This is it's the copper and the other cents. I can't remember what it is. Anyway, I'll remember it in a minute. I'm having a brain cramp. But again, there's this information here, and you'll see that they changed at 88% down to a 12% gap, filling that nickel, which made the coin a little bit lighter. And this bronze, thank you, the bronze cents. I was like, holy smokes, what the hell? Yeah. Again, I was like, oh my God, I can't think of the name of it. I just went absolutely freaking blank. And this is where you have, in it, instead of having that dark whatever, you kind of had a lighter tone and lighter tone
Bronze
to
is
it.
copper and tin, though.
Say again.
Bronze is copper and tin.
I'm just letting you know what the Federal Reserve indicates the metal makeups are. Hey, Gatita, thank you for the $2 super chat. So I'll share this with you. But that was 1857, right? The other thing is that this is where Congress would be able to delegate, in order to have kind of more autonomy. They would be able to change the designs to have more flexibility. So before it was, you had to have liberty on the front, you had to have United States of America on the back. There were very specific constructs. This changed that a little bit and allowed a little bit more autonomy to the mint. This is where they could do like the metals. This is where they could do some of this stuff to allow for new coin programs to be developed. Again, 1857 was the year that all of that started. Okay. Now, the next big one came out, 1864. Now, the Coinage Act of 1864 showed yet another change in the structure, and it was also one of those that authorized the 2-cent coin. Okay, now when you're looking at this, this is where the birth of "In God We Trust" was first put on coins. Okay, and it wasn't put on all of them, but it was the Secretary of the Treasury, Salmon Chase, who put that first phrase on this 1864 2-cent coin. Now, subsequent years, other coins would do that, and you would see that would be the "In God We Trust" in many of those. But it was 1864 that you first saw that. Again, the person who did that was Solomon Chase. Now, moving on, what I would consider the most important of all of the coinage acts for the numismatic, the hobbyist, the collector, was the 1873 Coin Act. Now, besides being 100 years old when I was born, the thing that did this is really where the Hobby Protection Act is, right? This is where counterfeiting was a real big thing. There were ramifications regarding people making counterfeits and doing stuff like that. So this was a really big United States push against counterfeiting and really collecting the numismatists, really collecting the hobbyists, and really trying to protect and safeguard our money. So 1873 was a huge year. It was also the last year of the trade dollar. One of the issues with the trade dollar was a lot of counterfeiting in that regard. And so, not saying they were tied hand in hand, but again, there were a lot of counterfeitings of the trade dollars in China, even back in that time. Again, we look at some of the items, the Pittman Act, that would happen later on with the melting of, $350 million in coinage, or is it 650 million? 350 million. So there were other ones where they would do things where they would share the bullion, ship it over to another country to support either trade or support the financial backbone of a country, which is the whole premise of the Pittman Act. But again, when we're looking at these particular items, 1873 really was a good year for the protection of our coins. Now, again, you would have another one, 1973, that increased some additional ones 100 years later. But there were a lot of things that happened in 1873 that really meant to protect the coins and the hobbyists. Another thing that was inadvertent, they really people didn't really begin to understand this was the demonization, and I say demonization, it's the demonetization, but it was the demonization of silver even further. Now, when you look at the demonetization of silver again, it started back in the 1830s and it got worse. 1860 or 1960s, it got even worse than that. 71, basically, we removed the silver standard, silver notes, certificates, all that stuff were removed. We didn't do that anymore. But again, it was cyclical, right? So one of the major issues was that during this time frame, they saw the first major hit in silver production. And once this bill passed, it wasn't until the miners that were actually doing silver started take their silver bullion to the mint, they started to get turned away. They weren't accepting the silver from these miners, and it caused massive ramifications. And people didn't realize it until a couple years later. This was the initial downturn when it comes to silver as being a primary standard. Again, we were on the gold standard, but again, we were really demonizing silver during this time frame. One problem with that is, again, when we're talking about the gold to silver ratio, this is where the gold to silver ratio took another notch up, because now it wasn't being as held as highly in regard, and we started to see massive changes in the silver to gold ratio. Silver prices would drop. Now, again, when we look at it historically, right, we're like, oh my God, I would love to be able to buy it at $1.29. But when you were looking at it, it was dropping below the face value of the coin. So there were a lot of issues that happened in 1873 from the silver standpoint. That would be further continued. There'd be a further decline that would happen in 1965. Now, we all know that in 1965, we went from 90% silver down to 40% silver. And this was something, again, not only because of the declining supply in silver, but there was also an uptick in population and demand for circulating coins, primarily the dime and the quarter that contain silver, right? So the 50-cent piece, the quarter, the silver, or the quarter, the quarter, silver quarter, the silver dime, all went from 90% down to 40%. Now, it was because of this that Lyndon Johnson, who was in the time, passed this, and this is why that happened. Now, a lot of people blame, and I've been guilty of this as well. The mint director during the time frame, they blame her for this. This wasn't her call. Again, when we're talking about the requirement, the legal requirement that has to pass through from the bill stage all the way into the law, these things happened. Now, there were some inclusion with the mint, right? The mint had to say so. They were consulted in certain things, but ultimately it was up to the lawmakers for this to happen. Now, there is some speculation, and depending upon what camp you come in, on whether you like Ava or not as a mint director, she did some good things, but a lot of people don't like her because of some of the stuff that happened with taking the mint marks off and saying that there were collectors were hoarding stuff, which was happening. But again, they were hoarding stuff that was pre-65 because they wanted to make sure they were capturing that silver content. So again, the decisions to do this caused kind of an adverse effect. So it kind of stemmed not the collector, but it stemmed the people who would take those coins and then melt them down and trade them out internationally. Now, because of that, there were other laws put into place that prevented you from actually melting the silver in coinage and copper, right? Copper was also one of those items, to where it actually made it illegal for you to do so. Now, you can still smelt U.S. coinage, but you just can't sell it as a bar. We see a lot of people melt down pennies, and they, especially if you have metal detectors and stuff, they'll have tons and tons and tons of copper pennies. They'll melt those down. Please don't do that with zinc. It produces a horrible toxic gas. That's really hard. It's really, really bad for you. A lot of people won't melt down zinc because of that. Some people do, but you got to be very careful with it. But you can't just take it, put it into a bar, and sell the bar. That's actually illegal to do. You can't melt that down and sell it just for that piece. What a lot of people do to kind of circumnavigate that, it's not necessarily circumnavigating it, but they'll put it into design elements and they'll sell it as copper art. That is legal. You can actually do that. And that's how people kind of get away with that. But you cannot melt down a US coin and then put it into a bar and sell it internationally. That is a federal crime. So don't do that. All right. So again, when we talk about that, again, silver coins still remain very popular. Those of you who are watching, we talked about coin searching just at the very beginning of this. So people do still like to search coins. They still like to go through. They like to find silver. Channels, entire freaking channels have been around. People just watching people search for coins. We have people in chat that actually do this, right? So again, this is something that we still continue to do this. But I wanted people to kind of just generally understand. And again, Gatita, if you're here, I think I've seen you in chat. You're still here. When you're looking at this piece, when you're looking at the element, again, there's a lot of other states or a lot of legal requirements that are met, the U.S. Mint, in order for our coinage. So again, if you want to complain about the Mint not changing something, you have to go look and find out in the law if they're able to do so. Now, one thing that you can do, and I'm going to be putting this into chat, and I want everybody to bookmark this. This is a really cool item. It's at the U.S. Mint. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share this individual piece. I'm going to stop sharing this one. And I'm going to share this particular document. This document is housed within the United States Mint. If you like this kind of stuff, okay? Yeah, invisible, no melty zinky. Bad. Okay. If you Tiger, I don't know if you're still watching, but the answer to your question is no, it won't be too late. It needs to be done today. Sorry. But again, if you look at this particular item, you will see a lot of historical items. Now, it goes in alphabetical order of this. Well, the way that I have it is it goes in alphabetical order of category. I do that because if I scroll down, I will begin to see legislation, and you'll see the actual legislation for each one of the coin acts. 1792, 93, you'll see the 1806. Now, I didn't go over all of them. I went over 7 key dates, looking at some of the very specific elements of this, looking at some of the things that we're coming across, what happens in those particular items. But if you're really interested, if you really want to know what happened during a time frame, or let's say that you were born in 1998 and you want to see what happened 200 years ago on the year that you were born in, you can go over here and you can click on legislation to continue utilizing foreign coins as legal tender. Again, we were a fledgling mint. This was something that they needed to make sure that the 2.5 million people that were in the colonies at the time that the U.S. became, or that the colonies became the United States, they still had a vast need for coins, right? Because we were only minting 10,000, 20,000, 5,000, however many coins. We still needed to make sure that we had other coinage in order to do that. And so if you're interested in looking at that, this is a really, really good resource. And it goes through everything associated with legislation, the various mints, really kind of digging into some of the specifics about each commemorative, what happened. If you want to know about the Louisiana Purchase and the house stuff that happened during that commemorative coinage stuff, you can go look at that here. This is a really cool resource. If you like this kind of stuff, go check that out. Again, the link is in chat. It's also in the description down below. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this down and I'm going to jump ahead to 2020. It's actually, I think it's 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And we're going to talk about the Coin Act that talks about the semiquincitennial. Now, the semiquincitennial is looking at 2026 coinage. It's going to be looking at the elements that are there, what's required by law, what the different items are. We actually, for those of you who remember, we actually got to go vote on the metals and some of the stuff that were being produced during this time frame. They've been able to select those items. So I'm going to go ahead and turn a few minutes over to Paula to go ahead and talk about that. If she wants to share her screen or show anything, or if I can pull anything up, Paula, please let me know. But I know you have done a lot of research on this, not to say ignorantly, but she's very opinionated on some of the coins that have been selected and some of the stuff that's there. She and I agree on almost every facet of that. So, Paula, if you wouldn't mind, if you will go ahead and talk about the semi-quincentennial, I would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, there's not. I mean, it's not a secret. It's been out there for a while. That the U.S. Mint announced for the semi-quincentennial, the 250th anniversary, they'll be doing a complete redesign of our circulating coinage. They're also going to be doing other special programs. There'll be a best of the mint collection put out, which will be what Frostbyte was talking about, the coins that you guys actually got to go vote on. And I think they're doing a gold coin and silver, some type of silver companion coin or metal with it. That'll be like the half dime. These are the designs for those. The 1792 half dime, the 1878 Morgan silver dollar, 1907 St. Gaudens double eagle, 1909 Lincoln cent, 1916 Liberty walking half dollar, 1964 Kennedy, and then 1986 Statue of Liberty, whatever, $5 gold coin. Those were the choices I think that they gave people. But for our circulating coinage, we're going to have a complete obverse. Well, it was supposed to be a complete obverse and reverse redesign of the cent, nickel, dime, quarter, and half dollar with special provisions for the quarter and the half dollars. But if you go watch the U.S. Mint has a YouTube channel, and they do all their CCAC meetings, which is the Citizens Coinage Advisory Committee, I think is what it stands for.
Not to be confused with CAC grading.
Yeah, not to be confused with CAC grading, CCAC. They ended up, I guess their final decision on the cent and the nickel were just an obverse dual date, kind of like what we did with the bicentennial, which I kind of feel ripped off about. And then the dimes, I put that up on in our Facebook group, the different dime designs that they are proposing. There's some cool ones on there, but it'll be the first time the Roosevelt dime has been redesigned since its introduction, which is cool. We've had redesigns on our other coins, but the first time for the Roosevelt dime, which is cool.
Thanks,
I
Tiger.
guess,
Appreciate the $5 super chat. Hey, he says, hold on.
For the
He says,
quarter and the half dollar, not real sure if they're going to be doing. It's kind of it's kind of muddied when you read about it. It sounds like they're not going to be doing an obverse redesign. That they're going to be sticking with the obverse on the quarter and the half dollar. But once again, they're doing a 5 coin thing for the quarter, which is kind of silly. But anyway, it'll be cool to see new designs on our circulating coinage. It's not what they originally proposed. What they originally proposed was complete redesign of all of our circulating coinage, obverse and reverse. So we'll see. Things change. You know, it is the U.S. government, so things will change. We'll see what happens. But I am excited to see that. Yeah, so I don't know if anybody has any questions on that. I would encourage you guys though to go watch the US Mint, the CCAC meetings when they have them on the proposed designs. You don't get a chat, so they don't open the chat up, but it's a cool process to watch. Ultimately, those people vote, but ultimately, the Mint director has the final decision. So,
And one thing about this, and this is something that Paula and I have talked about, I've heard you say this, I think every time we've had this general discussion, just because they are on the CCAC, the committee, doesn't mean that they're numismatists, right? They don't necessarily have the collector in mind.
right.
And
Some
so,
of them are artists. I
yeah,
mean,
if you
there's,
were interested, like really hardcore, you want to get involved, you want to get engaged, periodically they have positions open.
mm-hmm.
And,
They just had
you,
one filled.
yeah, you put stuff in there and then you let them know we need numismatists, we need collectors in these groups to represent us. Because if we look at what happened with some of the coinage that we were able to vote on, I don't think a majority of our solutions, I don't think a majority of our items were even heard. Um,
Yeah, I mean, they're supposed to have at least one person that represents the collectors out there, but just like anything else, we know how that goes, right? How in touch are they with what people are actually wanting? Same with like the
exactly.
cherry
Yeah.
pickers guide. How in touch are they with what people are really interested in? So yeah, it's some of the things that they've chose in the past. When I watch these things, I don't understand. And they're also, so once this is a 1 year redesign. So when 2027 comes around, everything will revert back to the way it was, other than the quarter and the $half. Once again, there will be a 5 coin per year, 4 year, I think, program. Um, for youth sports will be the quarter, and then the $half, they're going to be doing like Special Olympics. So the $half will have a program, much like we've had for the quarter. So that's going to be kind of, I don't know how I feel about that, but
I'm trying to find the breakout on the US Mint, and I'm not able to find, it keeps taking me to some weird thing where they talk about the candidacies for that, but I'm not
are you,
finding
what are you talking about? So
well the congress.gov as
yeah,
the which unfortunately I'm not able to access. um
Public Law 116-330.
yeah, I've already included that in chat.
Okay.
But there was, oh, here it is. This is what I was talking about right here. You can't see that, but February 27th, 2024, CAC meeting images for the 2026 semiquincitennial coin program, the
Oh, that
penny
was
and
for the cent and the nickel. Yeah.
the
Ugh.
penny and the nickel. Yeah.
Yeah. So in that, you can see if you've heard me talking about what I would love to see them do for the 2026, as far as like how we have the W program, the W quarter program for two
Hmm.
years. You'll notice on those designs, you can see a Liberty Bell privy.
That's
They
right
did
there.
not choose that. So what they chose was just a dual dated. Yeah, there's a few designs with that Liberty Bell privy, and although that looks in Cuse, they say it's not going. It wouldn't be on the coin.
There we go.
That it would actually be in relief. But they chose the dual date. So what I was talking about, what would be cool, is if they did like a million of each of the cent and the nickel with that privy, and just put those out into circulation and gave people something to hunt for, like they
It's
did
a
with
great
the W.
idea.
I think it would be like, I mean, if they're looking for something, that W quarter program, I think, did more to bring in new collectors than anything they've done in decades. People were searching with their kids. I mean, it was just people are still looking for them.
This is what they opted for.
Yeah, just the dual date.
Which is, I'll be honest with you, it's ugly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just, I think it makes that side of the coin very cluttered looking, and I don't know. And they're not changing Jefferson at all. They're not, I mean, they're not changing anything else about the coin other than just stamping, putting on a dual date, and that's it. So, I mean, yeah, it's
So
whatever.
the mint has some leeway to this, right? Because they had different designers that did this, but were they required to have the same image?
I don't know. The way it sounded when they first, so for the first year or two that they were talking about it, it was going to be a complete obverse and reverse redesign for all of our circulating coinage. And I thought that's what the act allowed. I thought that's what legislation allowed, was for a complete redesign. It's I think it's even called like the Circulating Coinage Redesign Act or something. And I thought it called for a complete, or allowed for a complete redesign of all of the obverse and reverse of our circulating coinage. Now, what happened, I don't know. If they had made amendments, I don't know. But somewhere along the line, they decided just on it. I think it's because if you look at what it costs to produce our cent and our nickels, those are the things that cost the most for us to produce. And so I think to cut costs, they decided not to make new reverse dies.
Okay.
Because then they can reuse them. So I think it was just a cost cutting thing. And they can still use, they're the way they're making the dies, they're just doing digitally now. So I think they can probably just reuse the same dies and just, I don't know. But so I do think it's just a cost cutting thing.
Yeah. See, I really like, I really like the Liberty Bell. I really like, it's like that V75.
I think it would be cool
I
for
think
them
it
to
would be
put like
cool.
a million of each, because when you think about it, really all it would take were two dies. They would just have to create two dies to put out 1 million coins of each.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
um,
Yep. Creepy eyed Jefferson. That's a fact.
and it would be something fun for us to look for. Maybe they just don't want people hoarding them. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
It's going to
I
happen.
can promise you I'm not hoarding these. I'll keep a couple rolls.
Well, people are still
But
hoarding the bicentennial coins.
well, yeah,
So,
but that's probably the number one most lied about coin worth money,
mm-hmm.
right? Just because it's totally different, and you see thousands and thousands and thousands of videos talking about how one of these, if you find one that's shiny, is worth $70,000. Um, so I think that's like I said, I think that's one of the number one most lied about coins. Um, my opinion when I see these videos is always the bicentennial.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, looking at some of these coin designs, I mean, I don't like the dual date with the Liberty Bell in it, right? I think the Liberty Bell, because it's too cluttered over here.
Mm-hmm.
I like this one. I think this is the best design in my opinion. It's the cleanest looking. Um, you got the representation, in my opinion, is you got Liberty and then the Liberty Bell. It makes sense from an artistic standpoint. Um, but I just don't. I mean, why Why would
I
you?
don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why they didn't just do what they originally said they were going to do and do a complete overhaul, obverse and reverse. Take the presidents off of all of our coins because who's not tired of seeing dead presidents on our coins?
I
Um,
see dead people.
yeah, it just would have been really cool for them to do that for that one year. I was really excited about it, but you want to talk about cluttered? If you're worried about cluttered, go look at their proposed designs for the dime. I mean, that's a tiny little coin, and you should see the things that they're talking about putting on there. It's crazy.
I'm pulling this up real quick. Takes me
If
just
they
a
don't
second to
pick
clear it.
something simplistic, it's just going to be a jumbled mess. Nobody's going to be able to see what any of it is. I mean, that's the most simplistic one that they have. If they don't keep it simple, then you have to keep in mind when you're looking at these designs how tiny the dime is and what they're proposing putting on it. And some of these, like her, she looks really pissed. Like there's a couple of them where it's like, gosh, who peed in her Cheerios?
That is such a mess. You know what I see here?
Look how mad she
You know what
looks.
I see
Like,
here
get
though?
this thing off my head.
I see the opportunity for a lot of varieties.
Yeah, who knows? I
Because
see
I see a lot of
opportunity
dye
for just a
damage too.
mess. Just going to be a mess. I mean, some of them are pretty, but when you think about, the dime and how small it is, how is this going to translate to? Because it is not going to look like this. No matter how pretty it looks in the picture, it's not. We know that because if you look at like the Eleanor Roosevelt quarter, she looks like George Bush, but not in the picture, but on the actual coin, things just don't translate the same.
Yeah. See, now I do like the reverse of this. Um,
But the torch has been done. We're
yeah,
just replacing one torch for another.
that's too much.
We're just replacing one torch for another. So, and I
Now,
think that's what they're going to end up going with is another reverse with the torch. But
something like this would have been cool for like the $50,
they were
right?
talking about that. Some of the designs that they were showing for the dime, like using them on one of the larger coins.
See, that's too busy. I mean, God,
Yeah,
that's
it's a
yeah.
dime.
Now, the bottom here is this going to be in Cuse?
I don't know. They asked that, so they asked about the bold writing. I don't think that that's going to be in Cuse. I think what's going to be in Cuse is the bold writing. See where it's like
Okay.
filled that 250
Yep.
years. I think that's going to be in Cuse.
Well, there's a ton of opportunity for varieties here.
Well, our modern minting process eliminated a lot of that. There's going to be, I think, a lot of opportunities for clashing and, and cracks and chips. And
I think if they got rid of the
I mean,
stars,
that to me, that looks like the teapot in Chip in Beauty and the Beast. It doesn't fit.
well,
It looks very cartoonish.
well, not only that, but I understand it's supposed to be representative of the Boston Tea Party.
Our
Um,
independent Declaration of Independence, right?
but it's like, really? It's tea time. I mean,
Yeah, I'm a little teapot.
yeah, it's just like,
Who is the drummer on the bicentennial quarters? So that is just a Minuteman, I believe.
it is. Or if you're asking
Um,
for the person who modeled it, I
And
don't know
there's
the answer.
another Minuteman. Yeah, I don't know who them. if there was a model or if it was just some generic
Now,
soldier that they
out of all of them, I think I like this one the best.
and they so they didn't like the crack in the ground. They said it made no sense, which I kind of agree with. What is that representing? I don't know.
You know,
Maybe division between us and France. I
our
don't know.
country's divided.
But they said the Minuteman's been done. We've had it several times, and it is true. We have had the Minuteman several times on our coins. Our Washington crossing the Delaware, our drummer boy. It has been done. I think this is the one they liked the best, without the tyranny ribbon. They didn't like that tyranny ribbon, and I kind of agree with that. I'm not sure I really want that tyranny ribbon on there. So I don't know. You guys can go watch it was interesting because I posted in our Facebook group the different dime designs, and it really had a lot of people had a lot to say. People had a lot to say about it. So it was really interesting to see what people's opinions were on that. Don't like that. She's got something's going on with her neck there. She got a long neck. That is weird looking. It's just weird looking.
This is the poster child for the Scoliosis Foundation.
It is weird looking.
Yeah. These are all $50, folks.
Crack ribbon represents stacking with Kraken. Probably.
Yeah.
You know what was funny that I heard when one thing that stood out to me when they were talking about this, so I think that's the obverse design that.
Yeah, I think that's the one that they've chose.
Yeah,
which I like. It's actually a fairly.
I like it too,
very,
and I think it will
design.
translate well on the coin.
Yeah.
But one thing they talked about, which I found kind of interesting, was there were several of the people on the committee that didn't like the Phrygian hat. Like it's been done for too many years. It's outdated. I like it. I think that is a important symbol of ours. But they wanted to give it the kibosh. They didn't want any more coins with the Phrygian hat on. So
do you guys know what the Phrygian hat is?
The mint should listen to the people. I agree, Malcolm. It's true. I think that the people doing the cherry pickers guide would be well served to do more public polling on what varieties and things like that they want included, because I think that a lot of the people doing the editing on the cherry pickers guide are a little bit out of touch with what us variety collectors are really interested in. I think that should be something that they start doing.
So for those of you who don't know what the Phrygian hat is, now
it's not a Shriner's cap. No, it's not.
No.
A Shriner's
So
cap.
if you guys, and I like this because who's my favorite designer?
Shit, I lost his name.
You have a picture of him.
I know I do.
Created by Bifrost.
I know. I'm
religiously you are a.
Oh, Gobrecht. I know. Okay.
There you go. So
I knew that. I couldn't.
I know you know that.
I'm telling you guys, I had a scan done and they told me my brain is shrinking. There's a reason that I'm losing my words. It all makes sense now.
So when you look at the Gobrecht, dollar, or you look at the Seated Liberty, you'll see her holding something. The thing that she's holding on the top is a Phrygian hat.
It's on the mercury dime too. It's
Yeah,
on most of our
yeah.
coinage. It's
And
on, yeah.
so, um, the Phrygian hat. Oops, the Phrygian hat is it's a Roman thing,
Mhm.
and it symbolizes uh, it's called the Liberty Cap, but it's a
Yeah.
conical cap, it has a bent apex, right? It kind of folds over at the top, and its purpose was to honor and celebrate freedom. It actually goes back to Slav tradition, even prior to French and Roman times. It goes way back into the Slav
It's way
thing,
back.
way back. So the Phrygian hat is something that's been along for a long time, but we know it from U.S. standpoint. We know it because of the Romans. Um, so there's a lot of information. If you want more information on the Phrygian hat, maybe that's actually that's a cool video idea. Maybe I'll do a video
And
on the
it's not
Phrygian
spelled
hat.
with an F. It's PH.
It's Phrygian,
Yeah.
Phrygian.
Phrygian.
Yeah. So if you, I'll put something together on that because I think it's understanding the symbology is extremely important. In fact, do I have that? Let me see. Do I have? I do have it
Is
somewhere.
It is
Um,
depicted on most of our older or classic coins.
yeah, the
Um,
capped bust. Here, let me do this real quick.
the seated coinage. I think the Morgan dollar has a Phrygian hat. I think maybe not, but I know that the Mercury dime does.
I'm pulling up
Our
something real.
capped bust.
I'm pulling up something really fast. Hold on just a second. Let me get to it.
But yeah, the Morgan dollar has a Phrygian hat too.
Where the hell did I put it?
PHR, not Phrygiana.
Is that
Phrygian.
Ray?
It's dime
Oh,
bag.
dime bag. Okay, I thought it sounded like something Ray would say.
PHRYGI. Phrygian. I think that's how you spell it.
PHRYGIAN.
YGI. Yeah. Phrygian.
Let's see. It is.
But I just thought that was one thing that stood out to me during the meeting. One guy was very insistent. I just think that we should get rid of that, and it's just been done for too long. And well, there are just some things I think just leave it alone. Like why, I don't know.
So again, the Phrygian hat.
Phrygian hat. Yep.
It's cool,
Mhm.
but I'll put something together. The other thing that I wanted to share with you guys really quickly, and again, all of these resources are available. So I do have the documentation. This is uh,
But you were going to tell me something about a cent with a nickel
oh
core
yeah.
or nickel center.
Let me pull that up real quick. Yeah, this like holy cow, freaked me out when I saw this.
Good morning, Dimebag. Good morning,
Okay,
everybody.
so let me
Happy
share.
Sunday. It is Sunday. Oh, it's Sunday. This weekend flew by.
1792,
1792.
and let me present this one. So the red signifies
That's
copper, that signifies silver. It's the silver center
okay.
stone.
I thought you said it had a nickel set core.
Well, they have
Okay.
there's a penny, and we'll get. I'll have to break out here and get to the pennies where they get into here. Okay, this is where you have the 12%. This is the metallurgical
Yeah,
breakdown.
that's not a core. That's an alloy.
No, 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 no. I know it's the alloy, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying
Yeah. Oh,
this is the core. This is the one that has the core.
that's not an alloy.
Um,
I think it's an alloy.
it not from what they said. The
Oh, I
document.
know what you mean. It's got the little plug. I know what you mean. It has the little plug.
So, but yeah,
Yes, it has the little plug.
yeah. So,
Okay. I know what you mean.
but I didn't know that. I was like, I didn't even know
Mhm.
they had a freaking cent that had
Yeah, I
silver
know
in it.
what you mean now. The
But yeah,
little
like I
plug.
said, there's a lot of cool stuff here. This is really cool. I didn't never know this. I didn't know we ever minted a coin with holes in it.
Oh, those were pattern coins
The ring
when we had
cents.
the copper shortage.
Yep, right before the Flying Eagle. Yeah, it's cool stuff.
Yes. Those were just proposed pattern coins for when they were dinking around with the different types of metal compositions and
Yep.
yeah,
So, but
pretty
here's where
cool.
you talk about, um, right? Like here's the few
Yeah,
years where you have this makeup.
those are the copper nickel,
Yep.
right?
And this is where
Yeah.
you have the bronze ones.
But I don't think they're bronze. Bronze is copper and tin with
But
other
that's
it
where
can have
1864 to 1909. That's where the bronze came in. Those are the
that
bronze.
it can have other alloys in it, but it has to be copper and tin to be bronze with other alloys mixed in. I think if it's copper nickel, it's copper nickel. It's
So
called copper nickel.
here's what if you guys ever use
A
this.
copper nickel alloy is copper nickel, right?
Yeah. So when you look
Yeah,
here, okay. So when you look at this, I want you guys to look at this one right here. I'll zoom this in. But here's what we're looking at. You're looking at zinc and tin. Okay.
right.
So when you come over here, you're going to see zinc and tin.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is what our bronze before we and I think in 62 they took out the tin and it just became brass. Our coins became brass, I think, copper and zinc.
Yes.
But before that it was copper, tin and zinc. But what you were talking about, the Indian head cents from 60 to 64
Right
or
here. Yep. These ones right here.
yeah, 59 to 64. Those are copper nickel. Those are copper and
So
nickel,
they're
not
nickel.
bronze.
No, that's what I
Yeah, not,
said. I did say they were bronze. I said the ones
huh?
following were bronze.
I thought you said they were bronze with copper and nickel because
Oh,
you
maybe I
couldn't think
did.
of
Maybe I
the
spoke
name.
incorrectly. Maybe I spoke incorrectly.
I was
Yeah.
said in my head was like going, I'm like, wait a minute, what? What is going on here?
It's very likelihood
Got
that I
very
spoke incorrectly.
confused.
It
Yeah.
wasn't what I meant. Um, I,
And then the flying eagle between like was it 56, half of 56 was copper and then they went to copper nickel, or was it 57? I don't remember, but
57 was when the flying cent changed. The 56 is
57,
copper.
so it
Yeah.
went half of 57
Yeah. And I
was
think it was like
copper
right
and
at the very
halfway.
beginning.
Yeah, bronze is copper, tin, and zinc. It can be so it can be copper, tin, and any other metal like nickel or zinc, or I think there's several different that can be mixed in to make it bronze. But it has to have copper and tin in it, I believe.
Yeah.
And
So,
then in
but this
60,
shows you all the metallurgical makeups of the coins. Even common sense. You talk about the steel and the changing, and you'll see the experimental ones. This is where you were talking about right here.
so yeah, those are the experimental coins of World War II. They experimented with, so that's a plastic, but they experimented with a dozen, at least a dozen, probably more different types of metals and plastic and all kinds of weird things. It was really weird. Roger Burdett has a book out that talks about the experimental coins of, yeah. So those are the trial dies that they use, the trial coins. And I believe that's Martha Washington. In case you were ever wondering if any of our coins have read Martha Washington on it, yes, we have trial dies that have Martha Washington on it that we use for. We still use those today when doing trial strikes.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people don't realize that we don't go straight to the coin. They're always looking at, again, we got the manganese dollars, right? They're always looking at different metals. They're looking at duration and strikeability and what is the preservation of the dies, right? Because again, the mint is required by law to be profitable. So if they can reduce the cost in the metal and they can reduce the cost in the dies that are there. Hey, Silverman's 92, good to see you. Thanks for coming in to chat. Robert Bruce, what's up, bud? I haven't called out a lot of people today. I apologize. I've had a lot of different resources open, so I apologize if I've missed you. But yeah, there's a big push for the mint. It's a requirement, like a legal requirement for them to be profitable. And so, a lot of people get really upset with the increased prices. Don't buy from the mint, wait a year and then buy it secondhand. Most likely it's going to be reduced in price anyway. But again, it is a requirement. So if you wonder why they increase their prices or while they're looking at doing this kind of stuff, it is a legal requirement of them to be profitable. So just understand that is law. Okay. So.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean it is, but again, it's kind of crazy. So Inkman, what I've done is this is actually a list.
I have it.
Yeah, I'll put the link in chat.
Okay.
Okay. You want to do it?
Okay. No, go ahead. No, I said okay.
No, it was what you said. It's like okay.
Because I had my hand on my chin.
Oh, got you.
Yeah.
I was going to tell you a joke, but there's young people here, so I can't do that. So here is the PDF. Okay. If you're in the portrait mode, this vertical direction, then you're going to have to copy that link and then paste it in. But I will put them in the descriptions. So they should be in the description. So you should be able to see that. So if I come over to, come to the channel and go to, whoops. Hate it when it jumps. If you go over to the description down here, you'll see the links that are associated with it. I'm not sure the PDF is there because I wanted to make sure I had the PDF, but they're there. I'll make sure that this one gets updated. Matter of fact, I can do this now, but I'm not going to do that there. And I'll make sure that this is listed
in your description.
Okay, so that's added. I'm going to add that. That is going to be in the landscape mode. And if you'll give me just a minute, I'll do it in the portrait mode and we'll make sure that that's taken care of. But there, like I said, there's 4 resources in here. They are the primary ones that I utilize to go over this. Now, the one that's not included is the one that Paula was talking about. And unfortunately, the VPN that I'm using is connected to something that's not allowing me to access the congressional website, the Senate website. We paste that. Okay, so those are both been updated. So now you'll see that link. The PDF is in there. You're able to click on that link and get that PDF now. It's a really cool resource. I love this particular thing. And you can download it and utilize it whenever you want and kind of go through and see the general time frames, metallurgical makeup and stuff. It's cool. But
Cool.
yeah, again, it's cool stuff. Um, I think it is. So I need to go through and I need to change my VPN to US base. But I change every time I stream, I set it up to different locations so that it never pinpoints my one location over and over and over again. It always shows up in different locations. So I do that. So whenever I'm streaming, I won't be able to access a government website. But yeah, I'll make sure that we get that one to you. I have to make sure that I'm looking at the right site. Now, I did put in chat earlier.
There is a mistake in that chart, by the way. I just found. Of course I did.
I'm sure there's probably more than one.
Now I won't be able to unsee it.
Is it what you're looking at on the screen?
No, I don't have anything about them taking the 10 out of the Lincoln set in 62. Now when it went from bronze to brass. Whatever.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
Hey, how many of the aluminum cents were done? That's another type coin. How many of those were done?
Depends on who you ask. It depends on who you ask.
Okay. What do you know?
Let's see. Let me see if they've got, 1994.
Vote for Pedro. Frostbyte is currently streaming from Safe House number 422. Oh, too much fun.
For mintage. They probably don't have a mintage. They don't have a mintage. So.
Okay. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this. Hey, what's up, Sorcerer Stan? Good to see you. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this. Again, this is, I was about to say customer requested, but subscriber requested information. This is member requested information. And I took quite a bit of time to try to pull this stuff together. If you guys like this, I have zero issue doing this. I love doing research and gathering information and pulling resources for you guys. If you guys like this kind of stuff, you know how you can help me? Give me more ideas, right? Tell me what you guys want to see, because sometimes this is going to be beneficial for you. And you may be like, I don't want to hear the history of that. And then you may be looking at a coin and going, I might need to go back and look at this. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. If you're watching and you don't have the notification bell turned on, go back and flicker the notification bell on and off, right? I don't ask for you guys to do super chats. I ask if you're going to do something, gift a membership, right? Include people in the community into this. I really like building the community aspect of that. But I don't ask you guys to do that. What I do ask for you guys to do is to provide me some things that you guys want to hear. I am about providing the best information that I can. It's why I include people like Paula and Eric and Chuck and all those guys, all those folks, because I don't have all the information, but I will research whatever you guys want in order to provide you some good information. So please send me emails, put stuff in chat, make sure you tag me when you do, and then we'll talk about it. If it's something that I've already done, I can refer you to it. If Livecoin Q&A has done something recently, or they have the people on hand who are the experts, I'll send it over to them and say, hey, there's been a request or two from this. You may want to check and see if other people in your streams want to do it. I will defer to expertise. So again, if you guys like learning about this stuff, the history, the breakouts, you want to know something about a specific subset of coins or whatnot, then, show me that you want to see that. Let me know that you want to see that. Show me the appreciation by, giving me a thumbs up or subscribing to the channel. That's what I want. Okay.
PCGS says on the aluminum 1974 aluminum cent that anywhere between 16 and 40 trial strikes, presentation pieces or whatever were made. They 14 are accounted for because they were ordered to destroyed, but there are 14 that are accounted for. There's probably one in the Smithsonian. Yeah, I don't know, but they were originally they were supposed to mint 1.5 million of them, but the vending machine companies had a fit, so that was kiboshed.
Oh, so why would they have or was it the same reason that they complained about the Susan B. Anthony's and the presidential dollars and
So I probably was because they would have had to redesign all of the guts in their machines. Um, and they didn't want to eliminate the copper, I guess. I don't know. It just says that. So it says the vending machine corporations and copper mining companies were not about to give up, since eliminating the copper cent from circulation would have a huge negative impact on their business. So they lobbied against Brooks to keep producing the copper cents for circulation. Mary Brooks, who was the director of the U.S. Mint.
gotcha.
And then the following year, Brooks ignored the copper mining corporations and still went ahead and ordered 1974 aluminum trial strike Lincoln cents to be produced. They were struck to present to government officials. There's several estimates given on how many, ranging from 16 to 40 examples. The Mint's final decision that they would not use the 75 aluminum cents for circulation and ordered employees to have every single example melted. But they acknowledged years later that 14 coins were unaccounted for. And to this date, to this date, it says the 14 trial strikes have not yet been recovered, with the exception of the PCGS MS62 example that surfaced in the media in 2001. This example is believed to be the Tovin specimen. So, yeah, you can read all about that on PCGS Coin Facts.
I'm assuming that Tobin was a senator or something.
It says Tovin was an officer at the U.S. Capitol.
Okay.
So
I'm sure they documented the dies and the strikes and stuff like that. So,
yep, I'm sure. Mary Brooks, former director, described.
And folks, what's funny about stuff like this is when people see coins that look different or weird, if they don't know anything about coins, there's a very high likelihood that one of these could be in a landfill somewhere or completely rotted away by now. Because a lot of people, I mean, how many coins have you had that was like, well, that looks weird, and just not even thought about it?
Yeah.
So it'd be really curious to see some of these. What I really would like to be able to track down and find. I think it'd be fun. There's no way to do it, but would be the story of the 1890 or the 1894 S dimes, the ones that the senator gave to his daughter as a gift, and she went and bought ice cream with him.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, there were only a few
Just
of
so
them.
you guys know, if you find a silver colored 1974, 1975 Lincoln cent, unless it weighs 0.94 grams, it's just plated. So if you think about that, our cents now weigh 2.5 grams, and think about how light they are. And our copper cents weigh 3.11. So think about how light a 0.93 or 0.94 gram cent would be.
Oh yeah, Robert, that's a true story. Yeah, it's an amazing story.
What is it?
The one about the is it the 1894 S dime? It's one of those. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, that's an amazing story. Um, she heard the ice cream truck and ran outside and bought ice cream with basically like, 2 of 5 dimes that were ever made or something. Crazy. Yeah, fun stories. I love that kind of stuff. I'm the storyteller. I like the stories and the hordes. Anybody who's ever watched my channel knows that.
You said it was
But
1894?
I think it's 1894. Robert, you're in chat. Enter the date for me, please. I know Robert
So
knows. I have to look it up.
1894 Barber dime,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Um,
Ooh.
well, there's a bunch of 1894 Barber dimes. Is it?
No, it's one of those. Hold on just a second. Oh, I just tweaked my shoulder. I tore my rotator cuff and I moved it the wrong way and I just
Oh my gosh, that
mm,
sucks. I
yeah.
have I have like bursitis in one of my shoulders, and I get a shot every like twice a year.
Yeah,
So,
it is the
and now
1894S.
1894S, 1894S, 18. I don't see anything about an 1894S. Maybe that's why.
Yep.
1894S. Was there even a San Francisco Mint? I don't know. When did the San Francisco Mint? Don't ask me about dates.
2005 one sold for $1.3 million. In 2007,
1894S, Barber Dime.
one
Okay.
sold for 1.9 million.
Dime
In
producing ice.
2015, one sold for 2.9 million.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. 1894S proof.
Yep.
Barber Dime. And he had how many of them?
2 of them, and his daughter used them to buy ice cream.
There were only 24 made.
Yeah.
Holy
Oh,
cow.
yeah. Too much fun.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a remarkable story. I need to do a little thing about that, but yeah, it's an amazing story.
Later found one later found at Gimbel's department store and purchased for. Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
think there was one of the 1943 bronze cents was found in somebody's lunch. They got it back in change at school in their lunch change.
And who is that?
Some little kid got back a 1943 bronze cent back in change.
Wow.
Yeah, in their lunch change.
Wow, that'd be crazy.
That's cool.
That would be crazy.
There's some crazy stories out there.
Yeah, I remember the kid finding one. I didn't realize that they got it back in change at the
Yeah, back
lunchroom.
in
Yeah.
change at lunch. Their lunch change.
He takes it home.
School
Mom, here's your
lunch,
change. Like,
right? Crazy.
yeah. Well, the thing that's as cool is that they recognized the importance of the coin, right?
Yeah, I don't know when. I don't
Yeah.
remember the year that was found, but yeah,
2005
whoever.
or something like that?
Oh no, it was way
Was it
before
or
that.
way earlier?
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Oh, yeah. But there are so many cool stories like that. I think this is one reason that I like sharing information and giving you guys like the historical context of stuff, but I love the stories. Love learning about the hordes and the stuff that's happening. And I'm doing one about a horde in Utah. I've actually reached out to
so
um,
this
uh, a family member that lives in Utah still, excuse me, to do some research on a horde in Utah. Try to see if I can get some people to give me some information.
1947. It was
1947.
found in his change. Yeah, change given at his school cafeteria in 1947. And it ended up selling in 2019, I think, for $1.7 million.
It's just unreal.
And his family, after he passed away, so he kept it all those years. And when he passed away, I guess his family sold it for $1.7 million.
Unreal.
Fun stuff.
Amy, thank you for the $7 super chat, my friend. I appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's really cool. I really do like the stories. I like the history. But again, folks,
Mhm.
if you like this legal stuff, hey treasure woman, how are you doing? Thanks for coming in. If you like stories like this, you like learning about the legal, or you have questions regarding, what was it about the 1873 that was so important for collectors? Or, hey, what happened during this time frame? Or if you're a stacker and you want to know something about a numismatic law or something that was passed that really hit or impacted it, like the 1834 Act. If you want to know stuff like that, reach out to me, let me know. Because I can do whatever I want to do and put in content out, and I have tons of ideas and stuff. But if there are things that you guys really want to see, let me know. I have zero issue doing the research, doing the work. I really enjoy doing that. So if there is something that you guys can do, let me know. Um, but yeah, just a lot of great stories. I mean, finding $1 million penny in your lunchbox. I mean, really, like, when does that happen? That's cool stuff.
And he kept it his whole life. Kept it his whole life.
I just think I
That's
think it's
really
amazing,
incredible.
you know.
Yeah,
Um,
that's really
and this is
incredible.
why, and I talk about this. I remember Paula when my friends, he used to be the Surgeon General of the Air Force, called me and said, "Hey, bud, I know you know a little bit about coins. I was going through my dad's old armory locker. He had passed away, and he had a bunch of coins. I don't know if they're worth anything. Would you mind coming over and looking?" The first thing that went through my mind is I'm going to see a 5-gallon bucket full of nickels and pennies and quarters, right? Because that's the first. Because I've had people call me and say, "Hey, Frosty, I got this coin collection," and it's like, you've got, 2 5-gallon buckets of change. We can sort through them, but this is what I need you to do, right?
Or a bunch of Littleton crap.
Well, I've seen that too. Yeah. Or not even Littleton. What's the other one? The Bradford Exchange.
Bradford Exchange with the fancy wooden boxes.
Yeah, and none of the coins are real. They're all fake.
Right.
Um, but so I went over to their house
Golden
and she
statement.
sat down and she goes, "Well, I think most of it's silver." And it was like first year Eagles, it was first year Libertads, it was
Nice.
some seeded stuff. There was some she had like $150 in uh Franklin's. Right. Now we went through all the Franklin's looking for key dates and looking for stuff like that. I spent 8 hours walking through some of this stuff. Got a couple of different coin collectors on the
That
line,
was so much fun.
went through some stuff. I mean, we went through stuff. And so she came back and she goes, "How much is it worth?" I called Keith from Coin Crew. I called Mike from Mid America Coins, called a couple local shops, told her to go to her coin shop in North Carolina and ask what they would do. And we took the medium, found a coin shop here in San Antonio. She was coming to San Antonio. Found a coin shop here, went through everything. Her coin shop offered her $2,200. The coin shop, after we went through everything and kind of laid it all out, she got almost $6,700. So her coin shop was going to, just like, she didn't know. And she went in there saying she didn't know. And so, again, it points to the importance of making sure you want to document information and make sure that things are there and you have the information that needs to be there and so on and so forth. But so anyway, after it was all said and done, right, it was like, holy smokes, like, this is really cool. Like a great collection. But her
Yeah.
dad knew what was going through. Her dad knew what he was doing and really genuinely, oh, 72.
Yeah.
72. You know what?
That's what I found yesterday.
I wouldn't have known that if it wouldn't have been for the fact that we talked about this earlier. But as
Yeah.
soon as you had it up, I knew exactly what it was. That's
Yeah.
beauty.
That
That's
is a
like,
beauty.
that's very clean. So, folks, if you guys can't see this, you need glasses worse than I do. No, but the doubling on this is amazing. So if you'll go back up to the in, yeah, there you go. So right here, folks, okay, if you look at the in, the N, and what you're looking at a lateral shift to the left, and you'll see that, I mean, it's very, very clear. Now, when you're looking for doubled dies, it's important that you understand that it's additive. It doesn't take away from the design. It's additive.
Mhm.
So you want to explain what you mean by additive, Paula?
Yeah, it makes it wider, thicker, bulky, big,
Hey, Strider.
fatter. Makes it fatter.
Malcolm wants to know if that's FS 108.
103, Malcolm. 103.
Jackalope says, "Here's my address." That's actually going to Amanda.
I saw the date right away, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a good one. But the coin is just clean and is nice.
Hey, Strider, what's up, bud? Things okay?
Yeah. So yeah, it's a nice one.
Yeah, that is a beauty.
Yeah.
That is good looking. Congratulations on the find. That now, what's fun about that? Honestly, what's fun about that is you found it live.
I did. I know.
Right.
I was so
And
excited.
that is really cool. And it's, when you're going through and you're cracking stuff open and you're looking at stuff and yeah, you find something, you find something, you find something, yeah, find something. And then all of a sudden, bam. It's
Yeah.
like the one with Chuck when Chuck found that one. He was like, whoa.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
found quite a few RPMs, which was nice on the 61Ds. There's Amanda. Of course it's yours, Amanda. They're your rolls. Why wouldn't it be yours?
Amanda, if you don't want it, you know what you can do? You can turn around and send it right back to her and say happy birthday.
No.
No, thanks for coming in, Amanda. It's good to see you.
Yeah,
Honest to God, that's a hell of a find. That is really cool.
That's fun.
That is cool.
It was a lot of fun. Like I was shocked because I just don't have that luck. And I love to search coins. Don't get me wrong, but
I'm gonna have to go back and see what your reaction was.
it was so much fun. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
I wasn't as excited. Like I didn't get like coin junkie excited.
So
I didn't fall out of my chair, but I was excited.
Amanda says, if you send that to me, you're getting it back. I'm not joking.
Oh, okay, Amanda.
Keep that. That's one of those, it's fun when you buy a coin and you get
Bye,
a coin
Pedro.
like that.
Have a blessed
But
day.
finding something like, all right, Pedro, take care, brother.
Yeah.
Hey, make sure you get those characters and send those to me. All right. And then I'll have I won't see Bifrost for about 2 weeks. So I'll have her work on it when she can, but let me know when I told you what I would do for you. So please make sure I get those, okay? Thanks, brother. And you got my number, so you can text me.
That was one of the RPMs that I found.
Thanks, brother.
I didn't find the D over horizontal, but you can see, I'll turn it so you guys can see the notch in that top of it.
Yeah. So for those of you who are looking, it's right. Oh, but
Here, I'll
moving it
go even a little closer. Our pins can be. There we go.
right here.
There we go. You can see the top, the little notch at the
Yep.
top. So those are fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, but mostly it was just fun getting to hang out with everybody.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm geeked out by that 72. That because that's a hell of a
I
find.
know, me too. Me
There's a lot
too.
of people who've gone through coins and never found something like that. So I am
Well, then they
really very
haven't gone
happy
through
for you.
enough. Then they haven't gone through enough.
I
You will
found
find stuff. If you go through enough coins, you will find stuff. It's most of it is patience and repetition.
one of the coolest things I found was when we were doing that coin hunt. Remember me, you, and Angel and Ida,
Oh yeah.
and we were going through, and I was putting it up because I was having eye issues at that time. So everything was on the scope just so I could see the coin. I couldn't see the dates,
Mm-hmm.
and put it up, and it was like, oh, that's a number 2, right? Formative years. Flip it
Mm-hmm.
over, and I was like, oh my god, look,
It's like
look,
Coin Junkie
yeah.
when he goes through those.
Oh, good. Coin Junkie's so
Yeah,
much fun to watch. He's a hoot.
he is so much fun to
He is so
watch.
much fun to watch.
He reminds me of when that's how I am when I'm looking through our emails and somebody sends us something, they actually found something really good. I get so excited. I get more excited for other people than I do for myself, I think. So,
Well, so again, one thing that, and I always use him as a reference point because of the amount of coins that he searches.
mhm.
Dirty water, right? Dirty
Yeah,
waters always drop in really cool finds.
he
Like,
is.
searching all the time.
Yep.
And if you're not looking, you're not going to find, right?
And
You
he
can't,
looks at the entire coin.
yeah. And you got to go through it, right? You carry a loop. Has anybody ever, now I got the opportunity to meet Shay at Tulsa 2 years
Mhm.
ago. And so we're sitting there, he gets his change back and he's already like, I
Yep.
mean, it never went into his pocket. It never got onto the table. It was immediate. Right. And he finds all sorts of crazy stuff.
Did I tell you that he did that at the casino?
Well, that's when we were sitting there.
He got, oh, was that when? Yeah, he got his, he put in a ticket and he got the change back at the casino. He immediately pulled out a loop
A loop started looking at, yeah, I
and
was there. I was
started
sitting with
looking
you
at the
guys.
coin. He is so funny.
And and I mean, it was as soon as he got it, it wasn't, oh, I'll check this later when I get back to the hotel. It was immediate. He pulled out a loop. He's sitting there. Yeah. And so, but those are the people that find stuff. Those are the people that find the really cool items. So, but yeah, you've got to look in order to find. That's really, really important. All right. Well, folks, any brand recommendations for a loop? Yeah. Paula, tell them which one you have.
Oh, I use a cheapie. Hang on, I'll show you.
It's like $8
Yeah, I use a
and it
cheapie.
has a light.
So let's see.
Oh, one of the,
Use cheapie. It's a cheapie.
yeah, but it has a built-in light. It's awesome.
Yep.
You getting ready for
when I go
church?
to shows, I use my little Bausch and Lomb, but
You getting ready for church?
I
I like that
I'm
dress.
getting ready for church. I am.
I figured you were getting ready for dress. Um, I normally don't see you running around your house in a dress. So,
I haven't
not
done
that,
my
not
makeup.
okay. So
I
let me
haven't done my
rephrase
makeup
that.
or my hair yet. So.
Let me rephrase that because that sounded just mildly creepy. I'm
No
not
creepy.
I'm not frequently looking at Paulette in her house. Okay. So, um, make sure I clarify that a little bit. Yeah. So, a couple things, when you're looking, uh, silver drip stacker, when you're looking for, looking at coins, there are two things that are really important, right? Lighting is number one, right? You want to have good lighting. Um, if you have dull lighting, you need those shadows. You need that light to be able to illuminate the coin. And then you need to have a loop with you. So if you have, uh, you know, I got mine is actually in my pants pocket because I
You know
was
what the
looking at
first
stuff
thing you
yesterday.
have to have when you're looking at coins,
Well, the
though?
coin.
Well, education.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you have to know what you're looking at.
You got to know what you're looking
Know
for
your
and
minting process and stuff like that. Yeah.
how to identify it. Otherwise, you're wasting a lot of time.
Frost,
Um,
can I purchase memberships and allow? Oh, can you purchase them and then allow me to give them away? No, but you can do it yourself. So if you go to membership, down at the bottom, you're going to have one that says memberships and then one says membership gifting. And then you can choose 1, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, whatever you want to choose. You don't have to send them to me to give it away. What it does is it goes by people who are subscribed to the channel. So if you're not subscribed to the channel and you want an opportunity to get a membership, you have to be subscribed. But it doesn't take
you
it primarily from people who were in the chat. For instance, I'll show you an example.
do you
So
have to be subscribed?
if you
I
go,
thought you just had to click that allow gifts thing.
you have to be subscribed in order to do that
Oh,
because you can't be a member of a channel that you're not subscribed to.
oh.
You know what? Here, I want to show you something that's really funny.
Makes sense. I mean, you should be subscribed anyway.
I played with this. This is really this kind of
You
makes
have
me
me
laugh.
like front and center, or is that on purpose?
Say again.
I said you have me like front and
Oh.
center. Is that there? You
Well,
go.
you were showing the coin.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So, okay, this is hilarious. I want you all to tell me what's wrong with this picture.
What's wrong with this picture? I can't see it yet.
Frostbyte has become a member. So,
Oh,
I've been a member for 1 month. How do I become a member of my own channel? You know what's funny? I actually am paying for that membership.
oh my gosh.
How does that happen?
I don't know.
So I've reached out and I've let them know. It's like, hey, how do you become a member of your own channel? And it's like, what in the hell? That's exactly what happened, Yoxnap, is that I was gifting them away and I got my own membership.
So how does that work too, though? How do you subscribe to your own channel?
Well, but that's the point. It's like
I can't subscribe to my own channel.
yeah, so it's like I don't understand. I shouldn't be able to gift myself a membership. There should be no way that because you have to be subscribed to the channel in order to have a membership.
yeah.
Now, if you go into somebody's channel, you're not a member, and you click on membership, you automatically subscribe to them. It's just one of the features that happens if you choose a membership. I'm tied with you. It's funny because I'm just like, what the hell? I give away a membership and I got it myself. I'm like, there's something wrong with this. But what should happen, Ross, send me the bill for, oh, dude. I will, okay, I'll send out a message to you, Robert, and I'll explain what I'm going to do. So here's what I'm going to do. This is courtesy of Robert Pintoff. All right. This is courtesy of Robert Pintoff.
Robert Pintoff.
I just gifted 5 memberships to everybody. Robert, thank you so much. So Pete Clark, Natty Stacking, Hoovers, Corgis, and Coin. I like that name. I like Corgis. I bet you they're from Britain.
Mm-mm.
Angry
No.
Warrior. Oh man, no. How do I retract that? Just getting angry. And then Kellen, Mr. Melted himself. So you guys, please make sure you tell Robert Pintoff. Thank you, Robert. I'll email you. Or actually, what you can do, Robert, is you can do this.
Randomly picks from all I
Send me
remember.
an email here, and then you and I will discuss it. I'll tell you what's going on. But thank you so much, Robert. I greatly, greatly appreciate you. Definitely appreciate it. Josh, Yoxnav, he comes across and says almost half a year, 5 months. I do appreciate you guys. But again, if you want to do stuff like this, I'm not going to tell you not to super chat me, but that's not what I want you guys to do. I would rather you guys include other people in the community into this, because I am more about building community. I'm more about supporting the membership of people. Kevin Rose, member for 6 months. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. But again, I am more about building community, right? One thing about this hobby that I really enjoy, I really appreciate it. Paula can speak to it. I know that there are people in here, Stacking with Kraken can speak to this. There's other people who have had issues, whether it be suffering from an addiction, maybe it's PTSD, maybe it's they deal with depression, maybe it's the fact that they are isolated, maybe they're introverts and they really don't like talking to people, but they enjoy they
That
they
would be
enjoy
me.
they enjoy being around people, but they don't necessarily enjoy being
Um,
around people. They like helping people. And I love you to death, Amanda. Okay. Amanda will bend over backwards to help you, but she doesn't necessarily always want to be on camera or talk.
she doesn't like you.
Okay. She doesn't like me. She doesn't like. Did you hear
only
that?
Likes me.
Amanda, did you hear that? She doesn't like me.
She
The
doesn't
truth
like
has been
people.
revealed. Okay.
She
So she'll
doesn't like
speak to
people.
everybody but me. But no, one thing you have to understand. So like Amanda is one of these, Amanda's brilliant, right? She gets this, she knows. Oh man, I think this is a competition. Look, ATS is 7 months.
She's pretty smart.
We'll keep going up. But the one thing I love about Amanda is Amanda will bend over backwards to help you really understand. She'll dig in, she'll do research for you, she'll put out information. And Amanda has an amazing sense of humor, if she will just display it. But it's so dry, it's so fun. I love Amanda. Amanda is amazing people. But don't discount quiet people. Sometimes the quiet people are the most brilliant people. So I have a huge love and respect for Amanda. I hope Amanda knows that. Paula, you know that. Same thing with you. I have a huge admiration and respect for you. You know that, right?
I do. You say that. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, but here's the thing. So I consider Paula a peer, but I consider Paula a mentor when it comes to this. This lady knows so much about the hobby. Same thing with Amanda. Now I'm not discounting, you guys know Chuck and Eric and that's fine. But when it comes to these two ladies, they genuinely know what's going on. Angel's another one. Angel's another person who really understands a lot about coins. And so it's important to look at this, but I love these ladies. They are extremely intelligent, very kind and gracious. So I always want to make sure that they get their proper due and let them know how much I appreciate them, because you guys get the honor, because of her kindness and graciousness, to hear genuine facts and stuff about coins that I just don't know yet. And so I can't tell you how much I appreciate you, Paula. Genuinely, I really appreciate you.
Thanks. That means
And
a lot.
Amanda, love you too. You know that, right? I hope you do. Even though you don't like me, it's okay. This can be a one-sided
She
relationship.
doesn't like anybody except me.
And Ida. She likes
No,
Ida.
she doesn't even like Ida.
Oh, hold on. Somebody do me a favor and clip that little segment. I'm going to send that to Ida. Ida, we have a problem.
Me. Ask her. She'll tell you.
Oh, too much fun. Well, folks, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I've got a few things to do. I've got some stuff to prepare for. Like I said, Bifrost is at work all day, so I'll have to pick her up and then take her back home. So I got a bunch of things to get together. I
Yeah.
do
Have a
want,
great day, you guys. Have a
yeah,
blessed day.
thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate you coming up.
Anytime. Bye, you guys.
All right, see you later. All right, folks. Well, again, just a couple of things so you guys are aware. Every Wednesday, just a reminder, every Wednesday, I have uh, a video drop that comes out. If you guys haven't seen them, go check out my dad jokes. I have a whole lot more that are coming out. I'm releasing another one today. Here in about 25 minutes, most of you will be over checking out Coin Crew, and they're doing their auction. But again, if you have questions, thank you, Ringmaster Ray. Appreciate you throwing that in there, brother. I really do appreciate you. I need to chat with you too. We need to get together and have a chit chat. But I do want to thank you all for the appreciation and the stuff that you show. Robert Pintoff, dude, gracious as hell. Thank you so much for that. Please, again, send me an email. You and I can talk about that. But again, just gifting memberships, doing stuff like that. Absolutely a stud. So thank you so much. All right, folks, we'll be well, be blessed. Take care. Stay out of trouble. As Ida says, don't get in any trouble that we can't get you out of. And here in about 10 minutes, Coin Crew will kick off. I know they have a couple really good things. Hey, Great Scott. There's another one, folks. If you haven't seen Great Scott, make sure you go check him out. He's really trying to do some stuff to grow his channel. And he's got some good direction. He's going to be doing some cool stuff. So make sure you're checking him out and following him out. He's an extremely good mod and really helped me get started in my technology and the structure of OBS and what I'm doing here. So most of what you see is owed to his kindness and graciousness to my channel as well. All right, Ringmaster Ray, I got something nice to say. I just can't remember it right now. Just kidding, brother. Fellow dad joke lover. But again, you guys, thank you so much for my siren, my mods. Thank you so much. Freaking awesome. You're a stud. Always generous and kind. Thank you for coming in and supporting the channel. Farm Dog, my friend, thank you so much for being in here. Coin Junkie, all of my moderators. I can't just tell you how much that I appreciate you. So thank you all for the love and support. And I'm going to do this real quick just because I can. I'm going to give something away. Brown Sugar, I missed you earlier when you came in. Love you a bunch, my friend. I hope you're well. Kevin Rose, outstanding. Kevin, send me an email. I got something for you. All right, folks. Take care, be well, be blessed, and you know that I will see you in the streams.